We're going to talk about the add meta boxes, which is an action hook. Okay. All right. So let's look at the definition of this hook as to which file it's defined in. If you go to adambrown.info, add meta boxes. If you scroll down to the latest version that is showing over here, is showing that it is in WP admin edit link form. Okay. So it clearly makes us understand that it's basically to do with the backend and not the front end because it's in the WP admin. Okay, so let's go ahead and open that file. So I've opened that file, and if I scroll down, I would see that do action add meta boxes. Okay, so this is where it is defined. Now, if you go on to the definition of add meta boxes do action, you can see that the first parameter is the hook name, the second parameter is the post type, and the third is the post. Okay, post type variable is actually the post type, which is string, whether it's post or page or anything like that, or your custom post name. And this post is a global WP post variable that is available to you. You can get all the methods of the WP post, like post ID and different methods of the post WP post class using this post object. So when you're going to go ahead and attach your own custom function using add action to this hook, you will have these two variables available. One is the string name and the second is the post object. Okay, cool. So what is this add meta boxes used for? So first, for that we need to understand what are these meta boxes. If you go to post, and then if you go to all posts, and if you just click on edit on any of the post, so this is your title section, these are your buttons for media and all of that. This is your post edit section. So excluding this, whatever else that you see, like this box right here for publish, this box for category, tags, these boxes, all of these are meta boxes. So all the boxes apart from your post edit boxes are your meta boxes. All of these are meta boxes. Okay, so add meta box, as the name suggests, it allows us to add a new meta box onto this page. So you can add it either to the post page, or you can add it to the pages page over here, and so on and so forth. So depending on the post type, so this is post type. When post type is post, you'll have it displaying over here. If the post type is pages, you'll have it here. If the post type is comments, then you will have it in the comments. So that's what the job of the hook is. That it allows us to go ahead and uh, attach our custom function using add action to that hook, and allow us to go ahead and display a new meta box and add it to these fields. So let's go ahead and discuss that, how we can achieve that. So this is my theme, which has got like functions.php, index.php, style.css, JS, and things like that. So I'm on to, before we close this one, let's just go over this. So basically do action, this is the point where whenever you go ahead and attach your custom function, your code is going to run over here. Okay, so let's go into functions.php. So let's leave this because this is just to add the style sheet in JavaScript. So come over here. This is where I'm using the add action, and I'm attaching it to the add meta boxes, and I'm using this custom function just adding custom meta boxes, which is defined here. And I've set the priority to 10, and remember that it's got two variables available in the do action. If you go back and check, I have post type and post, and that's what I'm passing to my custom function as well, because whatever variable parameters are available in the do action, the same will be available to your custom function as well, and depending on how many parameters you are passing over here. So I'm passing 2, so I have 2 variables available, and these variables then I can pass into any of my functions that I defined over here. So in order for us to create a new meta box, what we need to do is we need to use the add meta box function. Let's see what the add meta box function does. If we go to the codex and see add meta box, so it goes ahead and adds a meta box to one or more screens. Okay, so this is the function that's going to help us add a new meta box. So we have some, let's say to the post, we already have these existing meta boxes, so we want to add a new one. So to add a new one, we'll use the WordPress function add meta box inside of our custom function. So what does it accept? The first parameter is the string, sorry, the ID. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and defined the ID my meta box. Okay, that's the name of the ID for my meta box. Then the title of the meta box. Okay, so I put as my meta box, and I've done the translation as well. So the title for my meta box is going to display as my meta box, and then this is the callback function. Next, you can see that this is the callback function. So whatever you want to do inside of that meta box, you can define a function, which I've done like at the bottom here. This I just render my meta box, and you can do whatever action you want to take, whatever code you want to render, you can use that in this callback function, and it is required. Okay, then the next is the screen. So screen basically accepts different parameters like link or comment. um, so what I'm using is post over here. So basically uh, it tells you which area of the admin dashboard you want to display a meta box. Do you want to display in posts? Do you want to display in pages? Do you want to display in comments? Where do you want to display? And that's what it is saying, link, comment, post type, where whatever you want to display that box. And the next one is the context. So where do you want to display it? Do you want to display at the side, advanced, normal? Now which place, which means that which place over here you want to display. You want to display over here, over here, over here. Okay, so that's what it means. um, and then there is priority, which is high or low. If you keep it high, then it will be displayed on top. If you keep it low, it will be displayed at the bottom. Okay, and the next is the callback arguments. So that I think is optional. This is also optional, but I've not defined this, so I've left it like, so default is null. So that's the job of this function, is to create a new meta box. So since I've defined this function, let's see if it has created. I'm going to comment everything else that I have written. So if you go ahead and check into the post and just take example of any post, edit any post, you can see that we've got a meta box here. Okay, this name of that meta box, that's coming from here. Okay, cool. So what we want to do, so let's add some new functionality to this meta box. Let's say we want to go ahead and display an MP3 file using this meta box for that particular post, and we also want to display the name of that song, the title of that song. So to add that functionality, the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and define this function, which is IHS render my meta box. So let's go ahead and uncomment this. So remember, because the add meta box, this has got the post object available here, as a variable. This makes it available to our custom function as well. And because the post is available here, it gets available to the callback function as well. So which is why this post is available here. So this post is coming from do action, then to our custom function, then to the callback function, which is here. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to leave this for now. I'll explain to you in a bit. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to display some of the HTML. Okay. So I'm saying that there is a variable HTML is equal to label mp3 title of mp3 label. So I'm just appending uh, all of this HTML content to HTML variable. Okay, label So this is going to display the title, and there's an input box which has got an ID of mp3 title, text, name is mp3 title, value I'm using get post meta. So get post meta basically is going to retrieve um, the value of the mp3 title. Okay, so because whatever value we're going to save in this, so let's refresh the page and let me tell you what I'm talking about. So whatever value you're going to save over here, okay, that gets saved onto the WP post meta. Okay, so for example over here, mp3 title, so we are retrieving that value so that it gets displayed over here. Okay, so next is a placeholder. Okay, so this is just a placeholder, so if I don't put anything over there, it just come as Your Song by Elton John, because that's a placeholder that we are using. Okay, then again there is label, mp3 file, label, input field. So this is an input field type of file to go ahead and upload our input file over here. So that's the job of this function, basically is to render this HTML content. And we are using the WP nonce field because of the security purposes. The WP nonce field will actually create a random number, and then we can verify that number to ensure that uh, it is done by human and it is not done by like a script or a system. Okay, so WP nonce field basically accept different parameters. First is the action, which is action name, so we put the action name as IHS metabox nonce, and second is the name of the nonce, so we have kept the name as IHS nonce field. Okay, and then uh, obviously we want to go ahead and save the data, whatever we're going to store. We need to save that data as well, right? So just going to uncomment this. So I've defined this function. I just save metabox data to go ahead and save the data that the user enters over here. Okay, so for that I'm using the add action save post hook. So save post hook allows us to save the information of the post, and we are hooking our custom function to it. I'm not going into detail of the save post hook because this tutorial is specifically about the add meta boxes. So these are just, I'm just using these hooks to go ahead and save the data. Okay, so save post allows us to pass this variable post ID into this custom function. And over here I'm checking if IHS user can save. So basically I'm defining another function over here which accepts post ID and nonce, and to check whether is this an autosave. So WP is post autosave allows us to check whether the post data is an autosave or not. So we're passing post ID and getting this variable. The WP is post revision checks if it is a revision page or not, and then we are also checking if the nonce is valid or not. So we are checking $_post nonce. If the nonce is set, then we are using WP verify nonce function to verify if it is a correct nonce that has been passed or not, using this function and passing two parameters, $_post nonce and IHS metabox nonce, which is the um, action name for the nonce. This is the action name of nonce that we have already defined here. Okay, and then we are returning true if that is the case. If user can save, we are checking if this is true, is autosave true, or is revision true, and if the nonce is valid. So the job of this function is just to check and verify everything and if user can save or not. And we are calling it over here and passing these two things. One is the post ID and second is the nonce. So nonce name is coming from here. Okay, then we're checking if post mp3 title is not empty, which means that has the user entered a value over here? If he has, then we are saying an mp3 title is equal to post mp3 title. Now we also doing using these functions strip slashes and strip tags to for security purposes, so that if somebody goes ahead and writes a script tag over here, and tries to alert something, those tags will automatically be stripped off using our strip slashes and strip tag function. Then we are updating the post meta. So this function basically goes ahead and updates different information into the post meta database table. So in this function, it accepts different parameters. So it accepts the post ID, then it accepts the meta key and the meta value. So post ID is going to be given by this variable, which is available by this hook. And if you go to WP post meta, this is the post ID. So we will get the post ID over here, and then the meta key. So meta key is this mp3 title. Okay, and then the meta value. So meta value is this right here. So whatever the user enters in the meta mp3 title will be available over here. So update post meta is going to go ahead and insert that data, which is the post ID, the meta key, and the meta value into the database under the WP post meta table. So you can see that the previous one that I had stored before making this video is already there. So whatever new is we're going to update is going to go ahead and update that by overriding it. Okay, so that's the job of this function. I just save meta box data is to go ahead and save that information into the database. Okay, now the last, so let's go ahead and see that in action if that works. So let's go ahead and change the name of the song. Let's put it like everything I do. Okay, and let's go ahead and update this post. We updated that. As you can see that this is being changed and it's being displayed over here. And if you go back to the database, if you refresh it, you can see it's been updated. Okay, so this uh, update post meta function is going ahead and updating the value uh, by overwriting the existing one for this post ID under this meta key and under this meta value. Okay, and how it is being displayed over here is because when we were rendering the HTML content, in place of value we have not left this empty. If we would have left it empty, then nothing would have been displayed here. But because you are using the get post meta, so this function is going to get us the value of the meta key mp3 title. So update post meta is going to go ahead and insert and update the post ID with meta key and meta value, and get post meta is going to get that value from the database. So it's saying that go ahead and find the post ID of 177 under the meta key of mp3 title and keep it to true, which means get me that value, display that value, echo that value. So that's why under this value of this input field we are able to echo this information right here. Now the last thing which is left is to echo this information onto the post page when we go to single.php. So for that there is another function that I have defined, and this function basically uh, you know uses the content hook of the action. Uh, so the content allows us to hook our custom function to the content hook, and it passes content variable. Okay, so here we are checking if the user is looking on the single post, if the user is on the single page, single.php, and then we are taking a variable HTML saying mp3 title is get post meta. So it's the same thing, it's the same function which was giving us this value, which was giving us the value of the meta value of the meta key mp3 title. That's the same function we are using here, and we are saying that go ahead and display that information, get post meta, get the ID mp3 title, and keep it to true. And then we are appending the content to this HTML. So whatever the content was earlier, which would be probably the post information, the post content. Just below the post content is going to append this line, which includes the string the mp3 title is and the name of the title that the user has entered. So let's see if that is working. Let's go ahead and refresh our page, and currently we can see that it's already been updated here. We go onto that page, and if we scroll down, just at the end of the content we can see our line is here. Okay, so that's just regarding the title. If we can also add functionality to go ahead and upload the file and display it there as well, but that will make the video really long. So probably if you have any questions, I can probably make the next video to add that functionality as well. But for now, just to give you an idea how this add meta boxes work, how to get this in action is what I've explained to you. So just a quick recap. We had this do action defined in edit link form .php, which was in WP admin. As you can see, there are other add meta boxes function already called over here, which are displaying the other meta boxes. And if a user or a plugin developer or a theme developer wants to add their own meta boxes, they'll be able to do that by hooking their custom function to this hook add meta boxes using the add action function, and they will have these two variables available, which is the post type and the $post. Okay. And that's what we're doing right now in functions.php. We are using this hook and latching onto our custom function, passing on to the two variables. Then we are using the add meta box function like they have used previously for the displaying other meta boxes. We're using the same function to create our own, which has got the ID, the title of the meta box, then the callback function, type is post. And just to show you that if you change this to page, then you will no longer see that in the posts. You will not see that meta box, it's gone. But if you go to page, you'll be able to see that. Okay, so you can change this to comment also, but for our checking we just keep it to post. Okay, and then this side you can change this variable to a different one, whatever is mentioned over here. So what I mentioned was side. If I keep it to normal, you can see that the position of the meta box has changed. So you go to post, you can see it's no longer here, it's gone down over here if you keep it to normal. So you can play around with this. Similarly, you can keep this high, so again it will change the position of our meta box. So now it's come over here, and if you change this to side, it'll be side and high. From here it's gone to here. Okay, so that's how you can play around with that. Moving further, so what will happen at this point is that this custom function will be called. This will go ahead and create a meta box. Then this will call a callback function. Callback function will verify the nonce, and then create the nonce. Sorry, go ahead and create the nonce. Render this HTML content, which has got the input field, the two input fields, which is the title and the file and choose file input field. And then there is another function which saves the metadata using the save post hook. It's saving the data metadata into our database under WP post meta, and then we're defining another function which is checking if user can save, which has been called under the same function. And then this is displaying the the title onto our single.php page by checking the condition if the user is on a single page using the content hook, and appending whatever the content was, appending that with this title. And that's what we are seeing onto our single.php. So if you click on it, single.php, at the end we get this. Okay, so I think that's about it for this. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please subscribe, share, and comment, and keep watching for more. Thank you.